Welcome to my messy life. Take my hand and dive right on in with me. It's gonna be alright. Messy imperfect life with Leigh.
Hi, Danisha Danielle.
Hi, Leigh.
You have almost two first names.
I like have four names technically.
What are all of them?
Actually, like two kind of different identities, which is weird.
Oh, first, I'd like to hear all four names.
Danisha Danielle Houston Wrighster.
Wow. What are the last two on the end?
My maiden name, and then my husband's name.
Oh, so
My married
Danisha
name.
Danielle is just your first name?
It's my first and my middle.
Oh, I thought that was your first and
There's a whole
last.
story about that. I don't know if we do we discuss
No,
that?
no, tell me.
Okay, so the story is this. I grew up Danisha. My dad always called me Danielle. That was his favorite name for me. But I grew up Danisha. I went to school, went to college. Then I just started to apply for jobs after I graduated and couldn't get a job. I took my resume to one of my best friends who was in human resources. And I said, hey, can you help me with my resume? I'm not getting any calls for jobs. She said, your resume is perfect. You graduated UCLA at 16 years old. You've got two majors. I don't know why anybody wouldn't call you. She said, but your first name, you should probably use your middle name.
Wow.
I did it that day, sent out my resume to the exact same people, and I had a job that week. It's crazy.
Wow.
So then my work identity kind of became Danielle, right?
Yeah.
And so there was like my friends and family have known me forever that called me Danisha, and then there's Danielle and Danielle Houston, and I built my real estate team, which was Houston and Associates.
Wow.
And then I got married, and I was like, so who's going to be this Danielle Wrighster lady, you know?
Yeah.
Of Houston and Associates.
Yes. You have too many names.
Right. So I was like, so I'm like kind of like Danielle Houston Wrighster. And then when I started doing like the blogging and the TV appearances and stuff, I was like, I got to change this whole perception of what a Danisha is.
Yes.
So
I
was
love
like,
that.
I'm keeping Danisha, and I would have to fight with like producers. They'd be like, no, we want to do Danielle. Let's go with Danielle. And I'm like, no.
No, because you've established yourself already.
We're going to do Danisha and Danielle.
We're going to bring Danisha in.
That's right.
The true you. The original you.
That's me.
Okay, but you
So
said
now it's all
something
blended together.
that I was like dumbfounded, and then I came back to what you were saying, but I was like, what? I wanted to stop you, but I'm trying to work on not interrupting people. So I didn't, but I have to jump back to.
Kudos, you did a good job.
Thank you. I have to jump back to, you graduated from UCLA at 16?
No, if I said that, I messed up. I started UCLA at 16.
Okay, no, that's even crazy.
Yeah,
That
but I
you went to
graduated.
UCLA,
Mm-hmm.
and at 16, so you were like Doogie Howser.
That's what they used to call me, actually. That's funny that you said that.
Oh, that's because my dad he had a genius IQ, and he graduated from medical school, college, I think at 16, and medical school at 20 something.
Holy smokes.
And
he's a real life Doogie
He's
Howser.
a real life Doogie Howser. I would always go, okay, Doogie Howser. He's like, don't call me that. He'd get mad about the stupidest things. He did not like Doogie Howser, but it made me laugh. But you're a Doogie Howser too.
I identify with that because you start, like, I actually, when I was in school, they used to make fun of me for being younger, right? Because it's not cool to be 2 years younger.
Yeah.
You're not as like physically developed, so you get made fun of for being flat chested, and you're smaller and shorter, so you get made fun of for that. And so then, if I would answer the question, I'm like, oh, Doogie Howser, in class. So
Oh my God.
I responded by becoming the class clown.
You were the class clown?
I was actually voted class clown.
At UCLA or high school?
No, this was that was junior high. I got funniest and I got class clown.
Oh, I like that. I think I got one of those. I think I got one of those.
Maybe that's why we
like
bond.
each other. Well, I have to say that I went to that event, and I was sitting there, not really in a judgmental way, well, a little bit, but I was sitting there more like, how is this woman running the event? What speakers did she get? Are they dynamic? And a few of them went, and I thought, no, not so dynamic, because I didn't really connect with them.
Right.
Nothing pulled my heartstrings, or nothing I thought was special. They were giving information.
Right.
And then you came up there, And you have a baby in your stomach right now, which I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but you look like a freaking amazing pregnant lady, by the way.
I'm looking forward to looking like you as soon as this baby comes out, because you look freaking amazing, period. Like,
thank you.
Super hot.
That's so nice.
Skin,
Thank you.
hair, everything snatched, girl. You look good.
I have been putting in some time. I have been exercising and trying not to overeat and cutting down on a little bit of my drinking.
I'm eating everything.
You have to.
My skin looks absolutely insane. I'm not sleeping, so this is
oh my
what
gosh,
you
have
get.
you already stopped sleeping?
Yeah,
You're uncomfortable?
Oh my gosh.
You can't breathe?
I'll be 9 months. And yeah.
When's your baby due?
April 25th.
Do you know what it is?
Boy.
Oh, I love that you got to have a girl and a boy.
I know.
You know what? Honestly, like people, if are listening, are probably going to be like, "Screw you! I have 4 boys, or I have 7 girls." But there's something. I thought I was going to have all boys because I was kind of a tomboy and tough ass. I thought I know what to do with boys. I don't know how to be girly. I don't know how to braid hair. I don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff in my head.
Are you kidding?
No. My daughters are still pissed, and I keep setting the intention to learn how to French braid, but I haven't done it.
I keep setting the intention. That's good.
But not really. Yeah.
Well, we could do that. I know how to French braid.
Okay, then maybe after we're done, you can teach me.
Okay.
All right.
Easy.
Maybe we'll just wrap it up. So you got up to speak at this thing. I don't even know how many women were there. Maybe 40 or 50. I don't know. And you got up there on the stool, and you did not have a baby in your stomach, and you looked stunning.
Thank you.
So stunning. I used to have a girl crush on Vanessa Williams, and you looked a little bit with your skin color and how you were put together.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, wow.
I'll receive those Miss America vibes. Thank you.
Seriously. Yeah. Then it went from
Miss
her
America revoked, right?
I know. Because she had like a nude picture.
Yeah.
Which is so normal right now.
So normal.
I know.
She was
She
before
got
her time.
She was
before her time.
I love that. But you got up and spoke, and you sat down there on the stool, and you didn't have anything polished. You weren't trying to do anything, except what I loved is you told your story. And in your story, I loved you.
Oh.
And cared about you and couldn't wait to hear how it was going to turn out. It wasn't just information. And then you gave powerful information. But you locked me in with your vulnerability and sharing so openly about where you came from. Which I want you to do right now. Well, did you talk about being raised by a single parent?
I'm sure I did.
And that single parent was on drugs?
No, my dad was who I was raised by. My mom was on drugs.
Okay.
So my biological mom, my dad was only 19 when I was born.
Oh.
And pretty shortly after that, she developed a drug habit. And so she was kind of in and out of my life. So some days she'd show up, some days she wouldn't. Some days we would be in really bad situations. I mean, violent situations, dangerous situations, because my mom was a drug addict and I was a kid along with her. So her and my dad were going back and forth over crazy stuff. And then she disappeared from like 6th grade to 12th grade.
Wow.
And my dad was super young. He was only 21 when I was born. So in a lot of ways, we grew up together.
Yeah, because he was a baby, 21, especially for a man that's so young.
He was.
And your mom was gone during such interesting years, the years where we change and we go through so much and hormones and crazy stuff in our brains and so much going on.
Well, then I had like kind of like my stepmom, who was my dad's girlfriend for about 15 years, 12, 15 years, somewhere in there. And she's like the polar opposite of my mom, exact opposite, like yuppie, blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'9", UCLA Bruin.
Wow.
Property manager. So I kind of got the real estate thing
wow.
from her. Yeah, she was, and then she really went up to like a portfolio manager position. And she is, I mean, high standards on everything.
Are they still together?
Nope.
And
nope.
Are you still friends with her or close with her?
Extremely close.
Oh,
so
I love that.
She's now married, and she's been married for 20 years now. And I've got a Jewish stepdad. And then I've got my dad and my stepmom. So I was an only child till about 16. And then my dad had like basically a brand new family. back to back. So I got
Wow.
all of these siblings, kind of like what I'm doing now with my daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Like I had that whole single momhood with her.
And tell me
she
how
was
that
about 12.
how'd that come about? So you were in UCLA when you got pregnant?
Yeah.
What year?
Gosh. No, I wasn't at UCLA. I didn't have her until 2000.
Oh, you had her after you graduated.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
But it was my college sweetheart. So maybe that's what
I
you're
knew
thinking
something
of.
with college.
Yeah, I met him freshman year and we were kind of off and on for about 7 years and then got pregnant.
And then what happened to him?
He was diagnosed with cancer
Oh man.
during my pregnancy and he died when she was 10 weeks old.
Oh my gosh. So he was your baby. He was your guy.
Yeah, he was 8 years older than me almost.
You were together for a long ass time.
Well, he was like, it was a very unique relationship because he was like, he was so much more established than me.
Yeah.
Had come from kind of like a more stable family. He was financially established, everything like I was not.
Yeah.
And so I remember when I got pregnant, I was really comforted that, okay, well, he has an older son. He's, he's much more mature. He's much more financially stable. He's been a parent. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Even though I kind of knew we weren't going to be together, but in my life experience, it wasn't like people got married and then had kids. All of my family was like, we just have kids.
Just have kids. Right.
And
right.
we stay together and then ultimately break up. So that's what I was.
So when you were
more used
feeling
to.
that you weren't going to stay with him or be with him, that was because of the patterns that you had learned?
Yeah, we had been kind of off
Not a
and on.
feeling that something was going to happen.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. But, I've never told the story, but I did go to a psychic while I was pregnant. I was like in this store and I was buying these crystals or whatever. And this lady said, I want to give you a free reading. I'm getting a vibe from you. And as soon as she touched my hands, she panicked. And she said, forgive him now. Forgive him for everything now. Just let it go. And I just thought, what? Like, it was just weird.
And that would lead me in that moment to believe he's going to cheat on me. He's going to leave me. Like, what's he going to do bad?
What's going bad? But she was just like, this is going to be hard. And she was, I just remember thinking back on that, a year or so after he had passed, that it was like.
She knew he was going to go.
She knew.
And she
Something,
knew
yeah.
that you would be left going, I can't believe you left me. Why did you do this? Now I'm by myself.
Which it was that. But I think that when you're so young and like death is like not even something that's on your radar.
Yeah.
Like that was not an option. Cheating on me, possibly, moving on with somebody else, us breaking up, us fighting, us going to court, whatever it would have been, that was all on the radar. That's
right.
Could have been possible, but him dying was just unfathomable to me.
I haven't had a close living with me kind of person pass from cancer. I had a dear friend die in December from cancer, but not my immediate.
Oh no. I mean,
like, were you with him when he died?
No, he didn't tell me anything. He just
So you weren't living together?
No. When I was talking to him, he just kept saying, I never wanted this for you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And were you like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And he was like, I never wanted you to be a single mom. And I was kind of, young and immature. And I said, well, that's kind of your fault. You haven't really shown up since this pregnancy happened. And then one day he had called me and he said, we can get this taken care of. It's not too late. And I was like pretty advanced in the pregnancy. And I was like, that's not even an option. He was like, I'm just sorry. He just was really trying. Do
you think he already knew he had cancer?
Oh, I know he knew.
Oh, so he was trying to help you out knowing he's going to be in the grave soon.
Correct.
Isn't that interesting that he couldn't just tell you I have cancer and I want to help you sort things out?
I know he went through a really drastic surgery right before he passed. And I don't know if he really knew he was going to.
I see.
Or he had fully accepted it.
No, because people don't know that they're going to die.
Yeah. And I know he didn't tell a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, most people, I mean, if you think about it, like think about when people get these like crazy diagnoses, it's like really hard to accept that this is happening.
And you still have hope, and I'll keep moving forward, doing what I can do, and I could possibly be okay.
Right. And he was young, very strong, extremely healthy.
Wow.
So, I mean, he was a football player. Not that I only date football players, by the way.
I like football players.
Apparently I do too.
So does your daughter look like him or you?
Well, when she was born, she looked exactly like him. I think now she's more of a blend, but it could also be her mannerisms. Like the way when we take pictures together, we kind of tilt our head the same way or have a
so
similar
cute.
smile. But I think she looks like her dad.
She looks like her dad. Was he black?
I just added the pretty. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the prettiness, because, she tilts her head to the side like me. That's when I see the really beautiful parts of her.
Well, unfortunately, my ancestry DNA let me down because I thought I was half black. And then my ancestry DNA came back and not so much half.
What?
It's like 25%.
Oh, 25%. And what else is mixed in there?
Makes me sad. A lot of Irish, mostly Irish, really. My mom was really heavily Irish.
Oh.
I'm
Irish
which it doesn't
too.
really get much wider than Irish. So
no, there's nothing more translucent.
Why I happen to be way on this end of the spectrum. But
it's interesting too, because did you identify with being black?
Oh yeah, I was raised by my dad.
Yes.
And so I used to actually get in a lot of fights because I would say I'm mixed, and people would say, "How? You look Hawaiian." White people.
Yeah.
Generally, most black people know that you're black.
I thought you were black.
Yeah. Well, that might be that you have a good eye.
My dad always wondered if I had a little black in me.
You're like, only sometimes, Dad.
Or at Halloween, he would say, not Halloween, at Thanksgiving, my mom would go, "Does anyone want black bottom pie?" And my dad go, "Leigh does." I was like, what? I was going to say, "Dad's sick." And I go, "I actually do, Dad." You got it. So yeah, so
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It seems like you're reminiscing a little bit right now.
So no, I was actually just thinking, because there's so many things with you that I find fascinating. And I think that one of them is your childhood. Anytime you're dealing with addiction, it is horrible.
Right.
Because the person who was that person is gone.
Yeah.
And there's something that's hijacked that person.
Yeah.
And now you're dealing with somebody who's not the person that you know and love.
But in so many ways, they still are the person you know and love. And then they are, like my mom, for instance, had a really great personality. Extremely funny, extremely generous.
Oh.
Everybody who was, she went on any job interview, she was always proud of this. She's like, I've gotten every job that I've ever interviewed for.
Wow.
She just
likable.
had kind of a really charismatic personality. Yeah. And she always had that, except with the drugs.
Okay, so I've seen someone get hijacked from alcoholism. Mm-hmm. And then when I speak to that person, I don't see that person anymore. I see this beast.
Their eyes are different and everything, yeah.
And how they speak to me and, that kind of thing. And it's just like, oh, wow, you got hijacked. So she did get hijacked only when she was on it.
So I probably wasn't as in tune with that.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking
sometimes you'd see her.
Yeah.
And sometimes she'd be messed up.
Yep.
And when she wasn't doing drugs, you still saw her. Yeah. Or when she had the lapses
and
in
I was
between.
always hopeful. That's the thing about when you're a kid. Is you're like, oh, okay, good, mom's back.
Yeah.
So you're always hopeful, and every promise that comes, because, an addict can't really keep any promises.
Right.
Because they don't know when they are going to fall off again. But
they want to keep them. So they mean it. They say them.
They say them in a time when they mean them.
Yeah.
But that, that time inevitably comes. Oh, it's horrible.
Just wide-eyed, like, oh, I have her back. Yeah. Another disappointment.
No, we're going to go to Magic Mountain on Friday. I remember those things.
And you count down the days till Magic Mountain.
Yeah. And I would literally sit there, and my dad would be like, I told you, I was trying to tell you, it's not going to happen. And I was like, no.
And they were not living together then. She would just come pop over and tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something special with you.
And then one time I remember she was like, she used to pick me up on Wednesdays. She was supposed to pick me up on Wednesdays. And she sometimes came, sometimes didn't. But one time I just waited in front of my school until like 9 o'clock at night.
Oh.
And I just sat there and sat there and sat there. And then,
perking up at every headlight that passed.
Yeah. And I was like, she's going to come. Clearly she's going to come. And then I just walked home and I walked in the door and my dad was furious that I had been sitting out there all that time.
And in hope.
Yeah.
And hoping that it was going to be different. So how in the hell, because I know when we're young, we look to our parents the most. Mm-hmm. Who am I?
Right.
Do I matter? Am I important? And she was unable to tell you.
Correct.
And actually how our kid brains interpret it is, I'm nothing. Because my mom doesn't even care about me. Or to have that
insightful.
Unworthy thought.
Yeah. You didn't have that?
Oh, hell yes.
You had that that experience yourself?
I felt unworthy until 30. I
didn't know you had a parent that was an addict.
Well, my mother was an alcoholic, and then she went to rehab, and they gave her drugs. And then my dad was a doctor, and he just gave her pills. And she was mentally ill as well, but never treated for it. So she would get, when she stopped getting drunk, I think she went to rehab when I was 5. She started taking pills. So she would take pills to sleep. She'd stay up all night. She was bipolar and just medicating and with her door locked. So I didn't have access to her, but I knew she was in there. And so I formed the thought, I'm not even good enough for my own mother to get out of bed for. And I lived that unworthy story until I turned 30. I partied hard, promiscuous, drank a lot, ran wild, just wanted to make out and run because I just had nothing mattered. I didn't matter. And I lived that hardcore until I met Dave, and he's like, no, I like you. And I was like, well, I don't even know how to talk to you because I just usually fucking run. And he was like, then we'll figure it out. Let's go talk to a therapist. And then we went to the therapist the first time, and she said, you guys are going to be okay. She goes, but I'd like to see you by yourself, Leigh. And I was like, what a crock of shit. She just wants my money. My husband's like, no, my boyfriend was like, you should go back. And then I did. And for 2 years, the first 6 months, I cried so hard I couldn't talk.
In therapy?
In therapy.
Oh God.
I sat down.
I have a story. My first therapy story is very similar.
Because I hadn't cried in 30 years. I'd been tough.
Yeah.
And I was on my own growing up. And I was tough as nails. And I took care of myself. And I did everything on my own. And then I met this guy. And I was like, I don't know what to do with you. I just started getting drunk and fighting with him. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. But anyway, I went to therapy. And she was like, so how are you? I said, good. And she was, well, tell me about this. And I was like, ah. And I cried the whole time. She said, we'll see you next week. And I went back. And she goes, how are you? I said, I'm great. Tell me about this. And then I was just crying. After like 3 crying sessions, I said, am I ever going to be able to talk? She said, you have 30 years of crying to do. Let's double up twice a week until you can talk. And then we'll go down to 1. I said, all right. And then I learned why I was promiscuous, that I wanted love. I didn't know how to get it. It's
funny how unworthiness plays out in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Because mine was, I think that's why I became such an overachiever. It was like, this is something that I can make my dad proud, make my mom proud, make me feel like I'm worth something, and I was doing that.
It was like you were overcoming unworthiness by overachieving.
Oh yeah.
Working your ass off.
Yeah. And I was like, see, I got an award. See, I did this. See my test scores. See what my teacher said. And I was really playing that, like that was the lane that I was doing well in. So even though
that you had control over.
Yeah. I would come home. I mean, the reason I skipped grades was because I just would come home and do all the workbooks and then just turn them in to the teacher. And the teacher was like,
wow,
what are you doing? We're not even on that section. It's done. Like the whole workbook was done. She's like, I don't know what to do.
Wow.
And I really was doing it from a place of unworthiness. So yes. I try to look back on it and say, well, that was a bonus. Like
that got me pretty far. Mine slowed my ass down. I had to go through a lot of crazy stuff.
It did. I mean, it did highlight eventually as how emotionally unintelligent I was. And I was like, I can't even explain it, like, because it really was revealed in like my first real relationship.
Yeah.
I was freaking a biznatch. Like, I was like so angry, so hurting, like so raw, that anything that rubbed up against anything,
Yeah.
abandonment wise or something like that, I was like, I can kill you right
Yeah.
now. And I had so much unresolved that first like real love relationship. And he was fantastic. I mean, came from like a really great family. His family, you know, really embraced me, but I was like,
When was this? High school or after UCLA?
it was in UCLA. Yeah.
When you were there?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because I think that our little girl is still alive and kicking
Yep.
inside of us. And that when we are not taking care of her or connected to her or getting riled up, oh, wow, she's feeling, I got to let her know I got her. She's not alone
Yeah.
anymore. She's worthy. I got her. But that's just reminding me of this. Like, you're in that relationship and she's getting flicked.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not going to do that to me. She's still so.
Oh, I mean,
And then as an adult, yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
to
I'm
this day,
reactive
I'm
like crazy.
You ain't doing that shit to me. That's
Yeah.
what's not going down. And I still,
Yes.
I think it's so much of, because I really never blamed my mom, you know? I think it's hard for us to blame our moms. Like, and,
Oh, no, I blame mine hard.
but I went through phases with it. Like, I was like, you know, how dumb that she would let drugs get in the way. I would never do that. When I had my own children, I'm sure you had that
Yeah.
experience where you're like, I would never do what my mother did to me.
Yeah, I remember having two and then going, kind of judging myself as parenting because I had like a blank slate to work from. I didn't see cooking or sewing or any nurturing or anything like that. So I was like, do I suck? And then I go, no, I'm out of bed
Better than my mom was doing.
and I'm not beating anyone like my father beat the shit out of me. I was like, I'm kicking ass. And then I just remember every day going, oh, there's more. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more.
There's another level to this.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just remember at first celebrating, I was out of bed and I wasn't beating the shit out of anyone when I'm mad.
And you weren't an addict.
And I wasn't an addict.
Yeah.
I was trying to think a little bit about that, but no, I wasn't an addict. I do like to cocktail, but I was never lost by it.
I think it's my Irish side. I like to cocktail too.
It's
What I
something
miss
so
the most
fun
about this
about being
freaking
pregnant.
pregnancy.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes I just smell other people's wine glasses and stuff.
Yes. It's so fun and
It's really
social.
pathetic.
I know. It is so pathetic. So that's what I thought was really cool too, is that you went from what you grew up in to being at frickin' UCLA at 16 years old. Like, those don't go together. You didn't buy into what you were shown. You didn't buy into the stories or the area or how you were raised, or you didn't say, I guess this is where I'm living. I guess this is what I was born into. You were like, oh, hell no. I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And I love that you used your unworthiness. I used mine to cripple myself and hold myself back with partying and not connecting with people. But you used it to catapult you. I mean, they're both using a gross foundation, right? Not a foundation based in power and love,
Right.
but based in, for me, running away from or trying to suppress, and for you, trying to overcome.
Right. But then I think, like I said, I was highly emotionally unintelligent.
When
Like
did that
an
start kicking
idiot.
in?
It didn't, and then I really wasn't able to connect. Like, I was not able to connect. I think if you lined up anybody I dated, they were like,
What would they say?
they would. I was actually just kind of talking about this with my husband, because I saw this little meme and it said, one day, you know, he'll look back on you and he'll be like, wow, she really did love me. And I was like, do you think your exes say this? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, I think I look back on a few of them and I'm like, oh, that person really did love me. And I was like, I don't think any of my exes would say that. I think they would always have like a little question in their mind, like, did she? And I think, I mean, sometimes I used to attribute it to being an Aquarius or whatever, but I think I know. It's like, I just had a wall.
Yeah.
And if you hurt me, there are people that I was extremely close to, and I was like, they cut me one time, and I tried to explain it, and I'm sure you can relate. It's like a cut for me feels like the electric chair.
Yeah.
Like a betrayal of any kind is like, is so deep, or an abandonment of any kind is so, like, hurts me so deeply that it's I can't even allow myself to be available to that.
Still?
I've done a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
So I'm more aware of it and I process it a little better, but yeah, I think I still feel it
Yeah.
the same way.
I'm getting to the place where I'm seeing some old things from my childhood come back up in a new way. And going, I've dealt with this before.
Yeah.
But back then I was a victim because I couldn't do anything to change it.
Yeah.
I had to stay in it. I had to take it. I had to interact with it. And now I'm like, this is reappearing for me to be in a new way with myself around this. I'm not a victim anymore.
And so you identify the choice.
Yeah.
The story that you're attaching to it. Yeah. No, I've definitely gotten better at that.
And it's been really empowering because I'm able to start healing from that emotional damage as I stand up in my truth now, that I'm not that.
Right.
That I'm not a victim anymore to that. That I can love myself and be in a new way with myself, even with that same situation. It's freaking really cool and fuels my standing up tall.
I love that. And I think one thing that sometimes I don't even identify is that I'm so used to having an obstacle, right?
Yeah.
That I focus on overcoming the obstacle instead of just saying, you know what, that's not my obstacle.
Yes.
I can actually just
walk around it.
Yeah.
Walk around it.
And so sometimes that's always my little aha moment, is that I don't actually have to overcome this. I don't have to fix it. I don't have to fight it.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
But now I can just say, okay.
That's so beautiful because you're doing the same thing. You're being in a new way with yourself with the same shit coming up.
Right.
Do I have to go beat myself up? Do I have to work extra hard to change it? Do I have to do it all by myself? Do I have to... No.
I can just let it go.
Let it. Wait. My cup.
Let that shit go. Yeah.
I love this cup. Someone gave it to me for some Christmas or a birthday. I know, right? This is one of those things I should remember. She said that and then go find one and send it to you. If I can remember, I'm going to do that. If I can remember, or if I watch this podcast back and it reminds me. Because that is such a key to happiness.
Yeah.
Because anything that we decide to plow through, or anything we decide to hold, or anything we decide, it's just hurting ourselves so much.
Draining.
And the other person doesn't even freaking know where our fists are clenched. You know, we're like, and they're over there like having a cocktail and laughing.
Right.
And it's like,
or you know what I feel like? I feel like sometimes they're like, Leigh will fix it. Leigh will get through it. Leigh will overcome it, because that's what she does, you know? And I feel like, you know, I take on so
that's
much
your
stuff
role,
that
right?
I am always, I mean, that's probably why I'm good at my job, you know, selling real estate and doing it in high volume and having a team is like fixing problems all day long. So
I have to say one thing after I burp. I have to say one thing about...
I've been holding back a burp, but I thought it was because I was pregnant lady over here.
Oh, I'm just burping. One of my favorite things is farting, but I don't have a fart in me, or I'd share one with you right now. Something that you said that reminded me when
I'm
you're
just
saying,
like concerned that I was like, am I breathing heavy now?
I probably am. I'm like making weird noises and my lips are smacky.
This microphone's awfully close. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
you said Leigh will fix it.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of thing that you're saying is your pattern. And that's one thing that I had to break
Yeah.
and caused really people to be have a lot of upset with me
Yeah.
because I would no longer play my part. And I did that with my family. I did, my part was they would whisper in my ear about the other one, and then I would go fight the other one and get in a battle. And one time, one sister was going on and on and on about my brother, and then we were drinking, and then I went and just attacked him with words I don't even think, with feelings I don't even have. And I was like, what's happening? And I started having awareness, oh, you're fighting everyone's battles you always have. I beat up kids that were mean to my friends in elementary school.
Yeah.
I was like, I was the one who stood up and made things right. And I also can't handle talking bad about people. When people go, I'm like, then just tell them. And then I just scream it, would you quit being an asshole? Or whatever it is.
Right.
And I remember saying, you can no longer talk to me about anybody else.
Right.
I can't. It hurts my body, and I'm trying to make healthy habits. I want to feel good. And I'm realizing this really is hard for me. And then my partner in crime in my family was like, they're talking shit on you all the time. So I don't know why you're trying to disengage. I said, because I don't want to be a part of this anymore. It hurts. And then she eventually would call me to talk and I'd say, I can't do it. I'm sorry. So then she felt betrayed and or abandoned.
Right.
Because that's our story. And then she jumped ship to the ones that were talking about me. So all these, just this dynamic.
Right.
But I was like, I love them. I can't. I had to make a clean cut from negativity to move up, to feel better. But it is
Well,
that.
sometimes it's just that sometimes you take on stuff for people and they don't even want to solve it.
Yes.
They're perfectly happy in this space, and sometimes, I've had, I can't even tell you how many relationships or friendships just were, destroyed by me taking on their shit.
Yeah, I totally hear that.
Like, I'm taking on your battles. You don't really care. I'm somewhat resentful of that I'm over here fixing for you, and you keep sabotaging, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Like, you're over there, you're still doing what you do.
Right.
And I'm over here trying to fix it.
And they're like, I don't want to fix it. I just want to swim over here in this
I
dirt.
like doing this. I got
Yes, back off.
like
Get
it
out of
just
my
the
dirty
way it is.
space.
And I really like that when I really screwed up, you keep fixing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then when one day I'm like, well, I'm not going to fix this anymore.
Was that person relieved, or did it just crumble because that was a dynamic?
I mean, some of it is just they were actually resenting me.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing too much.
That's me too. I would I would learn things that would make me feel good, and then a sister was having a hard time. I was like, oh my God, try this. You should read this. You should listen to this. You should do this. She's like, you should fuck off. But they didn't tell me that. They just
I've had this too, where I had some friends were like, oh, little goody two shoes who never does anything wrong, always has something to say about me doing something wrong. And I'm like, I mean, some of this stuff is like, it's hurting you, like I had a friend who was dating a married man, and she didn't want to tell me for a long time because she knew that I was going to say, probably shouldn't do that. It's not going to work out for you. And
it's like, I'm not telling her. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. She's so judgmental, and I'm like, well, I guess good judgment is judgmental. And I'm not saying it from a place to condemn you, but I'm just saying, like, if I'm screwing up in an area, do you find that you're honest about your shortcomings and flaws?
Oh, yeah.
I'm really honest about my shit.
Yeah.
Some people are not. Like, I feel like I got some things figured out. I'm good on this.
Yeah.
But in other areas,
Oh, yeah.
it's a struggle for
Hot
me.
mess. Yeah.
Hot ghetto mess. And if I get fucking pissed,
Yeah.
it's going to be very ugly. And I wish I was one of those people. I prayed that I was one of those people that could just let it go and be calm.
Well, I think
but
I think there's an in between.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking about this, about the power of the pause, the power in the pause is literally, we feel our blood rising and we're going to, and I still, act out and yell and go crazy. I did this morning. all my kids.
Same.
But if you can just start to allow your mind to think, I could take a pause. Just a pause. Because in a pause or a breath, there's a new choice. There's a new way of being. But if we just go, this is how I do it, I get riled up and I explode, then we're just claiming that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think, and from what I've learned from my therapy, there's a thing called trauma brain. And when you've had a lot of trauma, your gap, your ability to pause, I guess, is really like, if this was a normal brain.
That's why mine's like, I can't even get the 1 minute pause in.
Right. If this is a normal brain, a trauma brain is like this. So a slight rise, you're already out of the realm.
Yeah.
And I know for me, I have had so many times where I'm like, don't say it, don't type it, don't, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it. You know?
Oh my gosh. I'm the queen of pushing send or send. I mean, email and text, and then going, I knew I shouldn't have done that.
It's horrible. It's
but
not
it feels,
a good quality.
but it feels good to push go, because I want them to know that I'm pissed.
But I'm telling the truth. Like, this is me.
And then right after, I'm like, oh gosh, damn it, sorry, I forgot about the pause. Someone told me power the pause.
You know, there's power in the pause.
No, I just heard too that I have trauma brain, so it's explainable. It's okay if I do those sometimes. But that my daughter has, Eve is 8, and she has her wiring in her brain is she gets overloaded quick. She doesn't have the maturity yet, how her brain is wired to go, I feel this way. This is how I react. This is a decision I could make.
Right.
She goes from the trigger to the top, which is either an explosion or complete clamp down. So somebody does something to her at school, and then she does something back, and then the kid tells, and then she gets in trouble, but they did it first, and she can't even defend herself. She's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
She just bit me, and you're yelling at me because I told her to get off my foot. I mean, but she's so here, and then she'll just shut down, and she'll be like this. And then the teacher's like, Eve, and he's like, Ugh. And then I'm like, and then they'll call me, Eve knocked over a chair and ran out of the classroom. I'm like, okay, great. So that's what she should do, because that's what her brain's telling her to do. Mm-hmm. Here's what I need from you, teacher. When you see her getting like that, back off.
Oh, wow.
Leave her alone. Let her de-escalate. She will. If you keep poking a bear who's ravenously hungry or furious, it will eat you. She's going to explode. She doesn't have the regulating skills yet. We're working on it with a therapist for coping skills.
Right.
For when you're angry, to identify it, to get to know it, to harness it, to have different choices, whatever.
Well, then I think me and Eva are the same.
Yes.
Don't poke the bear.
But that reminds
That's what
me,
I used to say.
when I get riled up and when I'm tired, I'm doing some spiritual practices every day now. When I do those, my whole day's different. When I don't do them for a week, I'm that right back to reactive person who doesn't know any great tools. That I know a lot of great tools, but they're gone because I'm reacting to something. And I'm also learning that feelings just come and go. It's when we jump on them and ride them that they become a problem. So trying to even observe the feelings, mad as hell, that's interesting.
I'm really mad right now.
But not riding.
I wish I could do that. I'm really good at that.
I know, but it's even just allowing yourself the thought that you're not your feelings, that we put energy onto a passing thought or feeling, and then we ride it and bring it out into the world.
Right.
But we have so many feelings and thoughts going through our head. We have 55,000 thoughts a day. Most of them are negative. Like, imagine if we wrote all those.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But it's just like this. And I think something about the pause, and I'm working on it because I'm reactionary.
Yeah.
You triggered me. And I used to be really tough before I softened and before I got more connected to who I really am, and which is at the core of all of us is love. Mm-hmm. Before I got connected to that, I was always triggered, and I will take you down because my mother was the meanest person I ever met, because when she was mentally ill in the bad part, she would call me in, and if I'd shared something kind of tender to my heart with her, she'd go, so how's that going? Why do you think you're in that? You really think he likes, I mean, just the meanest things. I was
Wow.
like, what? So then I learned that from her. So somebody would mess with me. I was like, I will crush you. And I knew I could crush them with something so tender to their heart. Oh my God, that feels horrible even to remember or to talk about. It was so horrible, but that's how bad I felt.
Yeah.
And I reacted from anger, and I wanted them to feel it too.
Well, I think that in my situation, I felt like, you know, I didn't have a choice about who my mom was going to be and who she was going to show up as. So I feel like so many times I had to just deal with other people's shit,
Yeah.
you know, and I didn't have a choice. And so it's really been something that I've come to a place with where when somebody hurts me, you can communicate it and you can make a new choice. Like that is the part that I, you know, even in friendships, I've had an issue with a friend who I was extremely close with, but she keeps doing certain things that are like very self-oriented, and she's got her own stuff, you know, but it hurt me. And I just was like, you know, hey, that really hurt and that bothered me. And she was like, well, I hope our friendship is more important than your hurt.
Huh, interesting.
And I was like, I think I'm going to make a choice about this.
Yeah.
You know, and if that's how somebody feels about
You being vulnerable with your feelings.
Yeah. And I wasn't angry, but you know, then there's like with marriage is like the epitome of the relationship that when you're hurt, upset, frustrated, you know, not gelling on something, that you still have to like be in relationship with that person.
Yeah.
And you still have to.
If you're committed to working through your own shit.
Yeah.
And like that girl showing up and doing that to you and saying that to you, it's like every single person, I believe, every interaction is for our learning.
Right.
So she showed up in a way for you to try a new approach instead of going, you cut me, you're out. You know what I mean? So you said, I feel this way about this. And she said, can't accept it, not interested.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, maybe I could just choose people who are interested in how I feel.
Correct.
So she gave you such a gift.
Correct.
Of awareness of new choices that you can make that feel
Doesn't
good for
really
you.
work that way in marriage, though.
Oh my gosh, damn it to hell.
Today I choose a new husband.
Today I think I'm going to give single a shot. Marriage is the biggest
Yeah, I
trip.
still got to stick with this husband with the way things are and the way we're going, you know, like that's been, and he's a wonderful person, but we have extremely different points of view on certain things. And I come with my stuff, he comes with his stuff. And it's like, we just got to deal with each other's stuff.
Or how can we honor each other around our stuff?
Right.
Or let us have different stuff. And not take it personal that the other one doesn't.
Or like, this is me. I feel like I work on my stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And some of his stuff, he's like, yeah, I'm going to work on that stuff, but I'm working on this right now. So.
And you're like, you need to do it my way, mofo.
And I'm like, get to working on your stuff.
Get to working on your stuff the way I see it and on the
Right.
stuff I want you to work on. Right?
Right. And if you're not working on your stuff, are you a good person? Like, I'm dead serious.
I know you are. I
This
think
is
it's
how,
hilarious.
like, I'm like, are we even on the same wavelength? If you can just let your stuff be your stuff and do nothing about it, we're just not the same, you know?
Well, we know the answer to that is you're not the same because none of us are.
Correct.
We all have something attracted you to each other,
Correct.
right? So there's the base of love, and then your shit comes up, and how will you be with yourself as you navigate your shit? And the other person there is just there to reflect back to us. We have work to do, I think.
Yeah.
And so they say, oh, shit, I got to push your buttons because you're trying to tell me how I should live my life and how I should heal and when I should do it,
Right.
what I should work on. I'm on my own spiritual path. I got my own shit. You do you, I'll do me. And then we'll try to be nice to each other as we navigate that.
Right.
But I think it is I love so much about relationships is that so often we want to point, well, actually for everything in life, point outside of ourselves. If we're unhappy about something or work or a friend, or we point to them. But really, everything's here. It's why am I feeling unhappy about this? What inside of me is hurting? Why does that upset me? Where is that old hurt that this is connected to?
And what do I need to let go? And what do I need to
And I always think it comes
change my
back.
story about?
Yeah. Story changing is freaking awesome. I went from blaming my mother to being in gratitude that she neglected me so perfectly that it set me on this path. What I'm doing is letting other people know you're not alone.
Right.
Like, that's a gift.
That is a gift.
But I blamed her for it for a long time because I was pointing outside of myself. And then I came here to do a little work in here for some. And I was like, oh, she hooked me up. She played her part so perfect.
Well, yeah. In I think that's where you're just kind of looking at the bonus that came out of it. There was good that came out of it. You know, I don't know about your spiritual beliefs, but I, you know, was not raised in the church, clearly.
I'm not religious, but I do connect to a higher power.
But that I have become much more aware in my walk that I've been like, oh my gosh, I was so protected. Like, I shouldn't even be here. And I was like protected in so many ways. And even in the worst things that happened to me, good things came out of it.
Yeah. And I think that's when we wake up and we start realizing, oh, everything was for my learning and growing.
Yeah.
The good stuff and especially the bad stuff.
Yep.
That's where we get the meat of who we are and the stuff that catapulted you into getting into UCLA at 16. I don't know if you would have had that had you been skipping in daisies and doing Ring Around the Rosies with your mom. And
that's the same thing with my daughter's father's death. You know, if he had been here to kind of fix all the problems, when would I have become, you know, would I have gone out and
we don't have much longer. I want to hear that now.
Yeah.
Because the thing I loved about her too is you help women. I want to talk about that real estate and then this real quick too, that how you help people, empowering women to know about money.
Yeah.
And to own it and to be a part of it. And I think when we own it, then we can bring in more abundance or abundance. But when it's this word that, well, I don't know what's going on, I don't know, which.
Yeah, well, I think that's the key is like, I think we as women are so powerful and in terms of manifesting anything, you know, we will pour our hearts and souls into our kids and our husbands and our friends and our families to build them up and make them stronger. But when it comes to money, for some reason, we're like, somebody else take care of that, please. I don't really want to look at it.
Yeah.
And I think because of the way my life had played out, like obviously, you know, in the childhood I had, you're not going to learn like financial abundance.
Right,
you know?
right.
And then when my daughter's father passed away, I went back to work and got laid off. So then all of a sudden money became like my number one problem. Like, even though I was, you know, grieving, even though I was learning to be a new mother, I knew I didn't have any way to pay my bills. I don't have any house to move back home into and nobody to help me. So I really had to figure out this money thing, and I had no money. So when I went to go work in a commission-based business, that's a little insane when you have no money.
Okay, so you had no money, but you're like, I got to go make money. And,
right. And I was like, I'm not going to do this.
And what did you do? Where did you go to work?
Marcus and Millichap.
So
it's a commercial real estate brokerage firm. It's kind of like Boiler Room. Have you ever seen that movie? A bunch of white guys in suits.
I think so. Yeah, but this is what I want you to tell, because I remember you telling the story that you were a receptionist there, right?
No.
What?
Nope. I came in as an agent.
I love that. I think I have a fact and I have no facts. I should not even.
Something like
I
that.
should not even
Maybe
try and
it was
pull
the
out
movie
facts.
I was watching last night.
Have we met?
Maybe it was Working Girl. No. But I did come in as an agent, and I had been an accountant. Maybe that's what you're thinking of. I had been an accountant at the company that I got laid off from, which was a commercial real estate company.
I just remember you saying you sat there watching these white, I don't know if this is the right word, but these idiots doing stuff and you were like, that's not how you should do it. What are you doing that for?
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
Like-
So you do remember.
Yeah. And then you were like, I can do this.
Yeah. Well, that's when I was an accountant, and I had gone on a fly fishing trip with a bunch of brokers who made 5-10 times as much money as me. I knew because I saw their checks. And I just was like, how does this idiot make that much money?
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like that's something I could do. So I did get my real estate license before I got laid off from this company. So when my daughter's father passed away and I had a newborn, I did have a real estate license. And I
Wow.
was literally, I had also done some acting when I was a kid. And so I had always booked, I would never book the part of a black girl, but I could book a commercial that just needed somebody who kind of checked a lot of boxes.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go back into acting, or maybe I'm going to use this real estate license and I'm going to go sell apartment buildings, which I'm pretty sure nobody had those two choices, but that's what I was thinking of. And I went and interviewed at Marcus & Millichap, and the man who became my mentor, Jonathan Weiss, like believed in me from day one.
Oh, I love when angels appear in our life just to
he was
uplift
beyond
us.
an angel. And he literally said, if you listen to me, he's like, we did this personality test, and he's like, you've got the perfect personality for this position. He's like, if you listen to me, you'll be making $300,000 within 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
And I was like,
You're like, do you know that right now I'm making
You're-
zero?
you're full of shit.
Yeah.
You're lying. But if you're half right, I'm in a position, I was making $38,000 as an accountant. So I was like, I'll be in a totally different position if I can make $100,000. Like it was
Yeah.
like, to me, like a lottery winning.
Yeah.
So that's where I was like, okay, I've got to give this.
Isn't that
a
funny?
try.
He said one comment and it manifested, I'm sure, because you went for
yeah.
it.
Well, I had my first year business plan. It was a $50,000 business plan. And I knew it wasn't going to come right away, but I was like, if I can make $50,000, I can get a 2-bedroom apartment. That'll be better. And that year I made $216,000.
Wow.
And he was, he was completely instrumental in that.
Oh, I love
So
that
I was
so
rookie
much.
of the year, and then the next year I mentored the rookie of the year, and then I started winning these national achievement awards. And
Wow.
yeah.
And you built a multi-million-dollar business?
Yeah, I started becoming an investor. I've got a good sizable portfolio now.
Damn.
Yeah, but it changed because then you start to learn money. I
Yes.
think that, and then being around people and investors and people who really make money work for them, you see all of the mistakes that people are making, particularly women. Those are the ones that I feel most connected to, because I was like, honestly, if there's a single mom out there, I wish when I was in that situation that I had somebody to look at, and I was like, okay, let me not look at this single mom thing as that bad.
You're empowering them to come out of the story of it and own it and move.
Right.
And you are doing what your stepmother did for you.
Yeah.
When she came in and showed you can be powerful and successful and in
Right.
real estate. And then you had this other angel come saying, I'm going to take you up.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go up? And you said, I'm not sure I believe you, but I am ready. And
Yeah,
you went
I'm gonna
for it.
try.
And it happened.
Yep.
It's like,
I didn't make any money, by the way. I didn't make any money for 7.5 months. Not one penny. And that is a leap of faith.
mm-hmm.
Because then I literally stopped going to the mailbox. Like, what am I going to the mailbox for?
7 months, no money. And then in the next, how many more months are left
Like
in a year?
4.5 months. Big money.
$200,000.
Yeah, I used to go to the ATM and laugh hysterically. Like, this is hilarious. How is this possible?
I love ATMs. I love that
But I didn't have anything but a checking account.
but
at
I love
time,
that you're putting money into, you're at a money place, laughing,
Yeah.
depositing money,
Yeah.
reminding yourself all things are possible.
And I would, when you get a big check, you have to take it in to the bank at that time. They didn't have the mobile apps.
Right.
So I would take it into the bank and I'd be like, deposit this,
I love it.
But I really was so like, I could not believe it. And then it took a long time for me to really be able to feel like I can sustain this.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is like, once you learn it, you know it. Nobody can ever take it away.
No one can ever take it away. It's like, I always say that once I pushed through a big fear, I realized that was just a thought. I have nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
Except my stories in my brain. If you had to give one piece, or not one, but whatever, I don't want to say one and make you on the spot, but like, what are your biggest things that you tell women about money that if somebody listening today could take away with them?
I mean, the most important thing is that you take charge of it yourself. That you really understand what's going on yourself. You understand how money works. You understand what documents you're signing. You understand that your financial position is your responsibility. It's not somebody else's responsibility to take care of for you. That I think is the number one thing right there. And I think we as women are, once we do get into something, we're going to figure it all out. We're going to tear it apart and make it work. And that's where, if you start making it important to you.
So make your finances a priority.
Yeah.
Be curious. I love the word curious. Instead of being complacent, be curious about your look into stuff. Ask questions.
I mean, more than curious. Be diligent.
Well, don't trump me. Okay.
I'm freaking
sorry.
At that one.
You're like, hey,
First
I'm the one that built a multi-million-dollar. I can talk on this. Well, I just think that you are precious and blessed, and God has just wrapped you with really incredible people, knowing who you are and who you. And I also love that. I love this so much, is that the stories that we learn from our childhood and who we've become, and especially the ones that we think hurt and fucked us up, actually end up helping us thrive.
Right.
And that you're taking your learnings.
Right.
And see, God gives us everything, all of the arsenal we need in our tool bag to touch the people we need to touch.
Right.
So you know what it's like being a single mother. You know what it's like grieving somebody who's close to you. You know what it's like with a drug addict. It's like you have so many people, because guess what? Everyone's dealing with all that stuff.
Right.
Drug addicts or cancer or all of it. And feeling alone and overwhelmed. Like you've gone through all of it and you still rose.
I'm still trying.
And you are still rising.
Thank you.
And I see you. I just really see you. You're so beautiful. I can see your sweet soul through your brown eyes. But I'm just so honored.
Can you see that?
I only saw that when I said my word and then you went over it. And then mine kind of came out too. No, but you're awesome. And I'm going to ask everyone to be saying prayers for your sweet baby boy that's coming and the delivery of that, and navigating crazy ass marriage with a new piece thrown in.
All of it.
All of it.
Just getting greater, bigger, stronger.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why children are such blessings, is that you really want to make it better for them.
Is that what we're supposed to be doing? I do. That's right. I had to think for a second. I do want things.
I do that?
I was like, wait a second. Do I do that? I know that they're my greatest teachers, and they show me all the places I still have a shitload of work to do. When they all trigger me in different ways. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I was so evolved. Leave me alone. I got to get out of here. But I do feel like being in a pressure cooker with all of these different personalities. A lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
That you're forced to learn.
Yep.
Or else you just repeat the same patterns, and we don't want to do that.
Yep.
So yeah, they are blessings, and we do want to make it better. I had to take a long way to get back to you.
Well,
to that.
you already made it better.
I did, right? With my very first time not sleeping or beating anyone. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
All right. Can we get together soon?
Yeah.
And I love that Danisha and I talked about doing a show together, right?
I know.
And then a podcast together.
And then
she got pregnant, and I was like, I guess I'll just do it by myself until she has that baby and she's sleeping again.
that baby.
That Judy.
And then she can drink wine.
Jack
with me.
Yes, then we'll have wine.
Yes, that would be fun.
Then we'll do another empowering podcast with women, and we'll drink wine and giggle.
That's right.
After you breastfeed. Maybe. Okay.
A doctor told me that it takes 4 hours to metabolize. So what she recommended was that as soon as you finish breastfeeding, that you drink right away, and then by the time the next feeding comes along,
Yeah, I think you'd have to drink
gotta
it.
be thinking, you know.
Yeah, you got it. When you like the cocktails, you got to plan your life right.
This whole breastfeeding cocktail management.
Thank you
thing.
so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
You're precious. Thank you. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
All right, and where can people tune in to you, to your stuff?
Right now, social media. You know, I have a lot of appearances that
Danisha
come up.
Danielle.
Yeah.
And check out her website and social media.
And I'm always talking shit about something.
Yeah, she's talking shit about stuff. And then she shows pictures of her belly naked, you guys. You can see her naked stomach.
Do I?
Yeah, well, you did when you were little. When you were just starting, I would see like 3 months, 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
But I haven't checked lately.
Boom.
Like, is there a 9-month one? I hope so.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. Thanks, baby.
Thank you.